Good morning. It's 8:30. I'll call today's meeting of the Clay County Board of Commissioners to order. Our first item on the agenda is an approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion offered from Commissioner
Second.
Bear to approve the agenda, second from Commissioner Ebinger. Any further discussion? Discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries. Employee recognitions? Our first individual today that we'd like to recognize is Brenda Paper. Brenda has 15 years of service to Clay County.
She's got more than that.
I know, and I know you'll tell us. Brenda, this plaque is given to you today in grateful recognition for the service that you've given to Clay County over the 15 years or more. Congratulations.
So I wasn't sure if Brenda was gonna be here today, so I was gonna print out a picture of her head and have a little poster for you, but she drove in, so yay.
She'll never come again.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to introduce Brenda Paper. She quietly handles some of the toughest work in child support. Her story with Clay County actually comes in 2 chapters, kind of like last month when I was talking to you about Sherry. She first started with child support back in 1995, worked here for 3 years, and then she left to raise her family and came back in 2011. Yay! Worked way back into a child support officer position in 2017 and is doing a great job ever since. So, not all caseloads are created equal in the child support world. Brenda handles what we like to call the no easy answer cases. Depending on the day, they could also be the UFTA cases. There are cases where, in her caseload, where child support comes in like clockwork, but many of those cases are a lot more challenging. There's situations where there's no employer for income withholding, individuals might be self-employed or working in the gig economy, and there's just no real easy answer to get them to pay child support. None of our usual tools work. She also handles incoming interstate cases, which we have no control over. Another state sets the order, the person can't afford to pay it, and we're stuck with it, and she's stuck with it in her caseload with nothing she can do. But what really stands out about Brenda's work is that it's not just about enforcement, it's about building trust with the people that she's trying to work with. She's very, very good at that. She works with people that might already be overwhelmed or they're very hesitant to talk to child support. And she finds a way to gain their cooperation when there really isn't a clear path forward. She's also a breakdown guru. She gets mad at me when I try and do one. I've spent 2 days trying to do it and I get stuck. And she'll be like, oh, why are you doing these, Sandy? I'll do them for you. It's awesome. But if you've ever looked at what you think is a complicated accounting system in a computer, yeah, come and see Prism someday because it's crazy. All through this, she stays incredibly calm. Nothing really rattles her. It's very impressive because for a lot of people, we'd be beating our head against the wall before we had our first cup of coffee. We're really fortunate that she chose to return to Clay County. Her experience, her skill, and her ability to handle the toughest cases makes a real difference for our team and for the families we serve. So, congrats to Brenda for 15 plus years. Thank you for coming back to Clay County.
Thank you. The next individual is Corey Runger. Good morning, Corey. Corey, this plaque is given to you today in grateful recognition for 15 years of service to Clay County and our citizens. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Today we are proud to recognize and celebrate 15 years of dedicated service by Corey Runger. Over the past decade and a half, she's consistently demonstrated what it means to be a committed public servant. Corey is known for her strong work ethic and her willingness to go above and beyond for the individuals and families she serves. She approaches her work with compassion, professionalism, and a clear focus on achieving the best possible outcomes for her clients. Her commitment is not just to the job, but to the people behind the work. She's ensuring that they're heard, supported, and treated with dignity. Her impact over these 15 years has made a meaningful difference in our community, and we are grateful for her continued dedication to support this work. Please join me in congratulating Corey on this milestone and thanking her for this service.
And Elizabeth Buer. Is it Buer? Okay. Elizabeth, we are excited to recognize you today for 20 years of outstanding service to Clay County and our citizens. Thank you for all that you do. We really appreciate it. Jessica?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Today we recognize Liz for 20 years of dedicated service to Clay County Public Health and the meaningful impact she's had on the community and the families we serve. It's especially fitting today of all days to recognize this as we kick off National Nurses Week. For the first part of Liz's career, she worked in family home visiting, where she made a lasting impact on countless families. Her passion for that work is clear. She's helped parents build confidence, strengthened family relationships, and set children on a path towards healthier, safer, and more successful futures. That kind of work changes lives, and Liz has been at the center of it. Since stepping into her supervisor role, Liz has taken on many responsibilities, including overseeing school nursing, disease prevention and control, family home visiting, and the public health clinic. Just a few things. Through all of that, she's brought not only strong leadership, but exceptional clinical oversight. She also played a pivotal role in keeping our community safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. She's become a trusted mentor and role model to staff and someone people can turn to for guidance, support, and leadership. I've only had the opportunity to work with Liz for a short while, but it's clear to me that she truly loves what she does and her passion shines through every day. Liz, thank you for your dedicated years to Clay County Public Health. We're very fortunate to have you.
Thank you, everyone. I think Commissioner Gross would talk often about how this was one of his favorite parts of being a commissioner, having supervisors come in to talk about the great work that all of our employees do. It really helps us to understand better all of the work, so thank you. Next item on the agenda today, looking for an approval of the payment of bills and vouchers.
Madam Chair, I move for approval of payment of bills and vouchers.
Second.
Motion offered from Commissioner Ebinger to pay the bills and vouchers, second from Commissioner Bear. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Citizens to be heard. Are there any citizens in the audience wishing to address the county board? You're all on the agenda. Any citizens to be heard? Steve, have we had any requests to speak online?
We have not, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Moving into the minutes from April 21st, 2026 that were in the packet.
I'll move to approve the minutes from April 21, 26.
We have a motion offered from Commissioner Krabanoff
Second.
to approve the minutes, a second from Commissioner Bear. Further discussion? Discussion? Discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The item carries. Item 2 today is a wildlife habitat protection presentation from the Nature Conservancy. We have quite a gaggle of folks here, so feel free to come up if you need to scoot chairs up. Not sure. Who's taking the lead? Good morning. Just green, as long as they're green, you're good.
All right. Well, good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for allowing us to come present to you today. My name is Liz Beery, and I'm the Associate Director of Grasslands in Minnesota for the Nature Conservancy. And I'm based in Fergus Falls, and I'm really excited to join you today.
Good morning, all. My name is Jane Cowan with the Nature Conservancy. I'm the Habitat Protection Program Manager based out of Minneapolis. So happy to be out from my computer and with you today.
Welcome.
So we're excited to share some information about a wildlife habitat protection project in Keene and Hagen Townships that the Nature Conservancy has been working on with Pheasants Forever. A landowner approached the Nature Conservancy last year wishing to sell wet meadow prairie and marginal cropland that can be protected and restored for wildlife habitat. The landowner is keeping the most profitable cropland for continued agricultural use and feels that the marginal cropland acres are not profitable and not highly productive, so they don't see the value in continuing to farm those acres long-term. Through this land protection project, we're very pleased to protect more land for wildlife habitat and for controlled public recreational access. Hunting will be allowed on all 1,900 acres, and long-term ownership of this land will be split between the Nature Conservancy, will own 480 acres, the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources will own 320 acres as a WMA, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service will own 1,100 acres. A good portion of this land has historically been used as hayfields because it contains wet soils that are not productive for crops. Current land use on nearby conservation lands owned by the Nature Conservancy, the DNR, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service include rotational haying, so that fits right in, as well as conservation grazing, controlled burning, and weed control. We also plan to farm a portion of this land within the next 2 years to prepare for prairie restoration seeding, and future haying and grazing efforts will be completed in collaboration with local landowners because many of them are producers and they have the equipment and the cattle to help us with those land management efforts. I'm just going to pull up a couple of photos quickly. I don't have a big presentation prepared, but I figured it'd be fun for everyone to just see what we're looking at when we talk about this project. So this is just one snapshot of this beautiful native wet meadow. Lots of wildflowers, lots of native grass, lots of open habitat, great recreational land that many people will be able to enjoy in the future. This wildlife habitat complex will be critically important in connecting rare native prairie ecosystems in this area, and they help sustain pollinators, grassland birds, mammals, and other animals. These grassland wetland complexes are declining on the landscape across western Minnesota, so it's important to protect and reconnect them when possible. Large grassland complexes provide abundant breeding and nesting grounds for many game species, which means these areas will also be favored by hunters and birders and general people interested in recreation, which would bring additional income to surrounding areas, especially in summer and fall, when recreational use will be the highest. Additionally, the benefits of perennial cover include improved water quality, elimination of soil erosion on these acres, and improved aquifer recharging after heavy rainfall. I just have one other photo to show you, just a cool photo of bottle gentian, which is a beautiful wildflower on the left, and then some blazing star with a monarch butterfly on the right there. When we were out here last summer, it was just teeming with butterflies and bees and just, beautiful array of pollinators and birds and many other critters that were not really jumping up around us, but they're used to having their peace and quiet. But it's a beautiful open landscape, and we're really excited to protect this. So the source of funding for this land protection project comes from the Outdoor Heritage Fund portion of the Clean Water Land and Legacy Amendment. And thank you for your time today, and Jane and I are happy to answer any questions that you might have related to this project.
Thank you for the presentation. Any questions?
Just one question, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Bear?
When do you plan on switching that land over to the federal feds in Minnesota?
We'll be transitioning those acres to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the Minnesota DNR within the next 1 to 2 years. Generally, we prefer to do some restoration on those acres before we transfer them over.
So you haven't transferred anything over yet?
No.
Not yet? All right.
We have a bunch of folks here. Did anyone else want to speak? Just in vibrant support?
Everyone's here in support, and we figured if you had any more complicated questions, we have lots of people to help answer them.
Any other questions? Well, I appreciate one, all of you being here, it's great to put faces to names. Certainly, there's some unique landscapes up there, and hearing that it was the landowners approaching you is always, important for us. And as that work goes forward, it is certainly beautiful to see that prairie being restored and protected as well. Any other questions from the board?
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just
Commissioner
one.
Krabanoff,
Yeah, I
go ahead.
appreciate so much the work you do, and again, just that opportunity, when you see it out there, just for a private landowner to have that, I'll say it, in their heart, for these things to take place. I just think it's good for our landscape, not only, and for our community. So, thank you.
You have something pretty rare here in Clay County.
I do have one other question. Over time, it's free access. Do you develop any type of walking paths out there or anything?
Well, thank you for that question. We don't tend to establish walking trails or paths. We just keep it wide open for
Okay.
wildlife habitat. Certainly, sometimes people that might frequent the area might, walk around enough to create some trails and paths. And also periodically, if we're ever planning for controlled burns, we might mow
Okay.
paths that would be good for walking, around and a little easier for walking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just, I was curious
No
about
permanent
that.
recreational.
I tend to walk grass, though.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, thanks.
Anything else? Thank you for being here and for the presentations.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
You too. Do we have your contact information? Could you forward that to Steve just to have? I think it would be helpful. Perfect, thank you. All right. Item 3 today, the Clay County Local Advisory Council for Children's Mental Health Annual Report and Mental Health Proclamation. Do you have the whole team here? All right.
Just
All
us.
right.
The important ones, right?
We'll go with that.
All right, Michelle, take it away, and you can introduce the other Michelle.
All right, I'm Michelle Thordahl. I'm a supervisor at Social Services, and I sit on the LAC as the new Secretary Treasurer.
Good morning. I am Michelle Mulligan. I am your, first time. Sorry. I'm Michelle Mulligan. I am a Children's Rule 79 Case Manager at Lakeland, and I'm the newly elected chairperson for our Children's LAC. Get started. So good morning, Madam Chair Mojo, Commissioners, and County Administrator Larson. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Today's update is intended to do 4 things. First, we'll provide a snapshot of the Council's current work and community engagement. We'll also share this year's survey participation and key themes. Then we wanted to take a step back and look at the larger trend over multiple years. Finally, outline the recommendations that continue to emerge from that work. And then this year, we want to go beyond a 1-year summary and show the bigger picture.
So at its core, the LAC brings together a lot of different voices, providers, school staff, county staff, families, and community partners to talk about children's mental health needs in Clay County. Our job is to listen, identify gaps, raise awareness, and make recommendations based on what we're hearing from the community.
So this year, we continue to have a really strong and active group. We have more than 20 members regularly participating. We've continued using surveys and partner feedback to help identify where families are still running into barriers. We were also pleased to have both parents and youth participate in meetings this year, which helping bring in perspectives that have sometimes been missing in past years. We also kept focus on visibility and transparency, posting agendas and minutes online, showing up at community events, promoting Mental Health Awareness Month, and finding simple ways to connect with families. One fun example of that was partnering with the Moorhead Schools robotic team to purchase fidgets that we can hand out at different events.
It was really kind of a cool thing. One of our members of the LAC had a contact at the Moorhead High School robotics team, and they did these fidgets. And so in talking with them, they're like, we'd like to get our name out. We wanted to partner. And so, I mean, they've just been a hit. So we were really excited about that. So the council approved a motion last year, I believe it was, to continue to allocate mini grants to supplement mental health programming. It's especially important this year since the Moorhead Police Program is no longer operating in the same way that it has in the past years. So there were 2 grants that were requested and were granted this year, and both were to Lakeland Mental Health Center. $1,500 was granted to their school-based CTSS program, their summer program, and then $750 was allocated to the Children's Rule 79 summer program. Both of these grants are going to help improve access for children and families to essential mental health programming that they provide in the summer. That really helps get them there, provides for them to be able to do different activities and things like that.
Just to touch on that a little bit, Lakeland has received grants the last couple of years from LAC, and the children have really benefited from that funding, and they've had a great time. I have usually come in at the end of the summer or in the fall, come back with like a little survey, just a verbal one, but this year we're actually going to do a one on paper that we're going to give to all the kids at the end of the summer activities, just to kind of see what they liked, what they didn't like. But it has been very beneficial, not especially with the police program not being up and running. So I'm just saying thank you in advance for that. This year, it says we received 327 total survey submissions, but I think Michelle said we actually had 3 stragglers at the end, so it was 330 total, which is amazing. It gave us a really strong amount of feedback to work from. Again, we offered incentives to help encourage participation, and we were pleased with the level of response. The surveys continue to be one of the main ways we gather input and make sure our recommendations are grounded in what families and providers are actually experiencing.
So this year we decided to approach our report a little differently. We wanted to add a multi-year view. Instead of only focusing on what we're hearing this year, we thought we'd take a step back and ask what keeps showing up year after year. We were seeing patterns. Feels like every time we would come here, we would report on the same thing. But in reviewing the reports from 2019 to 2025, it really allows us to see what issues are temporary and then which ones are recurring. It helps us understand the barriers that families describe as whether they're isolated problems or part of a larger system issue.
So this time really tells a story. So in 2019, we started clearly identifying recurring access and service gaps. In 2020, those same barriers showed up again across both family and provider feedback. In 2021, COVID increased the level of need and put even strain on the system. By 2022, it was very clear that the demand was outpacing the number of available providers and services. In 2023, the same themes continued, which confirmed that these were not temporary disruptions. And by 2025, the conversation had shifted more towards root causes like workforce retention, reimbursement, and the need for a stronger continuum of care.
The main takeaway is really pretty simple. The same core issues have continued to come up over and over again. At the same time, we saw that the system has some real strengths. Collaboration is strong, school partnerships are strong, awareness work has grown, but the most persistent unresolved issues remain workforce shortages, timely access to care, and gaps in higher level treatment options. In other words, the issue is no longer whether we can identify the barriers, the issue is that the same barriers continue over time.
So we do want to be clear that there are a lot of positives here in Clay County. We have a lot of strong network partners who are working very well together. Mental health supports are available in every school district in the county. Outreach and awareness efforts continue to grow. And when families are able to get connected to services, we are often hearing that those services are helping. This is not a story of a system that isn't trying. It's more of a story of a system that has strong people, strong partnerships, but is still facing capacity challenges.
The same challenges continue to rise. Oh,
Michelle, Commissioner Campbell has a question.
Yeah, when we talk about the workforce shortages being an issue, and it has been, I mean, we have that in a multitude of areas. Can you explain to us how workforce shortages impact this particular?
So, in regards to like access to family therapy or our community health partnerships with Lakeland Solutions, they have a hard time keeping people in those roles. They see a lot of their therapists going into private practice because reimbursement rates are low, wages can't compare, and so that really adds to, we contract with social services contracts with the Village and LSS for in-home services, but it's really hard to keep people in those positions.
So it's those areas that are experiencing the shortages in workforce.
Yes. And, you know, if you have Minnesota MA, there are only certain providers that will take that insurance. And so those are the agencies like Lakeland, like Solutions, that are having a hard time keeping therapists in that role. So then that's where we see the shortages, because they're going to private practice.
And then any gap in what the staffing pattern is only creates this backlog of long wait times, et cetera. Commissioner Ebinger?
Yes, you mentioned a couple times the police program. I don't know the specifics on that. Could you tell me what's happened?
You know, I don't, do you know? But what I was told is that they used to, you know, it was a huge program with lots of kids, and now they're paring it down and going to be more targeted in their approach. So what we were told is that access is going to be less, just less kids that are going to be, I don't know for sure. I wasn't told on the specifics, so
Maybe
I'm sorry I don't have that.
Send an email to whoever could.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great program, and I hope it's not being pulled back.
Yeah, I guess I don't know the specifics, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, so workforce shortages remain a big issue. Service capacity is still limited. Families still talk about difficulty knowing where to start or move through the system. Transportation continues to be a barrier, and there are still gaps at higher level of care, especially for youth who need more intensive services. Those themes have shown up consistently enough over time that we feel confident in saying that they reflect broader system constraints.
So the first recommendation area is workforce and reimbursement. We continue to hear that low reimbursement rates make it harder to retain staff, offer competitive wages, and keep services available. When agencies struggle to recruit and keep providers, families feel that directly through longer waits and fewer options.
The second area is the continuum of care. Families and providers continue to identify gaps in adolescent substance use treatment and in higher level residential options. This includes the continued need for a stronger regional option like a PRTF capacity and other intensive supports. Some youth need more than outpatient care, and those options are still limited, especially in our area.
The third area is supporting the services that are already helping. That includes respite care, SIBS, mental health case management, and school-based mental health services. These services matter because they help stabilize families and often prevent needs from getting worse.
The fourth area is access and navigation. Families still need clearer entry points into the system, and even better support in understanding what is available and how to get connected. Even when services exist, they're not always easy to find or easy to access quickly. Helping families navigate the system continues to be an important need.
In closing, the LAC's message is that Clay County has a committed and collaborative children's mental health system with real strengths. At the same time, the same barriers have remained visible across multiple years. Continued investment in workforce, service capacity, and easier access to care will be necessary to improve outcomes for children and families. Thank you very much for your time and for your continued support.
Thank you both. Questions, Commissioner Campbell?
I just want to go back to your theme one here on page that I'm looking at. When we talk about the low reimbursement rates and you know, we're talking about services for kids, right? With a lot of them might have mental health issues. When we don't provide that, what happens?
Well, we often see them in our child protection system. We see them in our juvenile centers.
Exactly the answer I was expecting.
Yeah.
And that's very expensive.
It's very expensive.
So, you know, so when you start to look at, you know, where's a better way to invest, you know, I think we better be looking at that. When something keeps showing up year after year after year and nothing is done on it, I think maybe there's time to start asking those questions, like what happens if we don't? And I knew what the answers were going to be when I asked the question. And those alternatives are not good for the children, and it's also very expensive to provide those when we might be able to be changing the way we keep or are able to increase the rates that, you know, as Michelle talked about, maybe these people won't be leaving these entities where we need their assistance. So I don't know, it's something that needs to be talked about quite a bit more, so.
I do really appreciate that Commissioner Campbell brought that point up, because that was what we took out of the conversations from not only this group, but social services, is that it was a non-sustainable rate. And that was the non-negotiable DHS threw out in the bill that we wrote, threw out before, it wouldn't even be part of the hearing. It was just a no. And again, to Commissioner Campbell's point, counties are triaging what that cost is, whether they want to address it or not. So that's where I think we need to, in the off-season, we need to continue to reintroduce bills about that one specific piece, because it's not just a Clay County issue, but it's not going to go away. We have to fix it. Commissioner Kavanaugh?
Okay. Thank you for all you do. Just to share on this, certainly our whole work and your work is in, toward that preventative care. And again, just catching it early rather than the later responses that come from not helping people along this path. And then it turns into things to the community that just become more, just have a way of not having to get them out of the system, if I may say, and just at a higher cost. It's been wonderful being with you all for the last 3 years. Our monthly meetings are vibrant. When you gave us your list of the people that are there, and on this list was 19, but we know that you bring team members in, and the discussions are just always there. Subject matter can change, but everybody delves in on it and shares their resources, their opportunities, and where the gaps are, and you try to fill them together. And I think the collaboration there is just tremendous. My monthly meetings, it's absolutely one of my favorite. But and thank you for stepping up, Michelle, for helping us this year. And Michelle, you're just a real stable force for the group, and you do a wonderful job. I just want to last end on bringing in the schools. I just want to bring that matter in, and how we have Holly, Barnesville, DFD, and Moorhead, participating every month and talking about the challenges that of helping those kids, so we don't create truancy, which then creates other problems down the line. And that's a conversation we have almost monthly. So that engagement is very, very important. So thanks for all you do.
Thank you. Additional questions or comments?
One question, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Bear?
How do we compare to the rest of the counties in the state? Everybody having the same, do we compare to other counties, or?
The needs or
The needs and.
I mean, I attend a regional supervisors meeting every month. I think there's like 8 counties that are represented, and everybody reports having the same issues, long wait times, service capacity. So I don't think we're unique. I think some counties do things, have access to different things, but that we maybe don't. But overall, I would say, that's kind of a hard question to answer, but I would say the general theme is that they deal with the same
Problems?
Yeah.
Is that a consistent trend, having mental health supports in every school of a county? Is that what other counties?
Yeah. Yep.
That's a great.
Yep.
Commissioner Campbell?
I have one last thing that goes to one of the areas, transportation. Michelle, I know you sat at the same table with me when we had our last retreat, and one of the things we talked about was transportation. And in some areas where you even oversee the volunteer driver program. And that again is another area where it's a big savings when we can have those volunteers that can help us. And when I heard our numbers are down to 2,
Yeah.
I remember when that number was way higher than that. So all of those transportation volunteers that we had have gone away. And somewhere along the line, those expenses had to be picked up by somebody else because those people still needed to go somewhere. So another area that I think this board can do for Clay County is to look at revitalizing that volunteer program by changing the stipend.
Right,
I
because
think just that alone could probably do a lot to bring more people to help with the transportation issues that we have. And now we try some other things with, the busing and stuff that we do, but that doesn't solve individual needs where volunteers in the past I know have done a good job. So I would like to see something move forward on that. That's just a comment.
Commissioner Ebinger?
Yes, just a point of reference, the Chief Deputy from Sheriff's Office just sent me an email, and Moorhead PD is no longer hosting the Summer Youth Program. They didn't get their YIPA grant, which was what we operated on the whole time I was there. So they're trying to retool it to something smaller, more focused, that they'll be able to do, but that's not been devised yet. But that's unfortunate.
Thank you for getting that information. Commissioner Krabanoff?
Just to add to that, if we go back to our last meeting, those grants, just so you know, were really county money that we had accumulated over a number of years, hadn't spent in some areas, and we just saw that need and picked up those 2 small grants, and we'll continue doing that. That'll be, but it's smaller amounts.
Anything else? Yeah, we'll do the proclamation.
All right, whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and
whereas all Americans experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives, and
whereas identifying and addressing mental health concerns earlier improves the quality of life for adults and children and their chance to succeed, and
Whereas Clay County has made a commitment to community-based systems of mental health care for all residents and has appointed local mental health advisory councils for adults and children, and
whereas each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen share the responsibility to address mental health concerns and promote mental wellness and prevention efforts.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Clay County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim May 2026 as Mental Health Month, and specifically May 5th as Children's Mental Health Day in Clay County. As commissioners of Clay County, we call upon our citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools in Clay County to recommit our community to increase awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps our citizens can take to protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions. Adopted this the 5th day of May, 2026.
Madam Chair, I move the proclamation.
Motion offered from Commissioner Campbell.
Second.
And a second from Commissioner Ebinger. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
you.
And
Madam Chair.
excuse me,
Commissioner Ebinger?
are we needing a
Motion.
motion for?
Yeah, I was going to say I need to make a motion for us to approve the Children's Mental Health LAC membership.
Oh.
Okay. I didn't see the membership list in there, just it's,
It was attached.
okay. All right, so you did offer a motion to approve?
Yeah.
Commissioner Ebinger offered a motion to approve. Commissioner Krabanoff, a second. Any further discussion? I got it now. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried.
Thank you.
Got a minute before, can we close it a minute early? No? Yes? Okay. We will, item 4 on our agenda is a closed session permitted by section 13D.05 subdivision 3D to discuss issues related to security systems and receive security briefings.
Move to close.
We have a motion offered from Commissioner Campbell to close,
Second.
and a second from Commissioner Bear. Any further discussion? Discussion? Discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're closed.
All right.
Okay, we are back in session. Our next item on the agenda is item 5, and a request approval to purchase replacement firewalls. Rory?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. The request today is to purchase a replacement firewall, a pair of firewalls here for the county. This due to increased network traffic. The State of Minnesota IT Department is our primary internet provider. They've expanded our bandwidth now to accommodate for all of us agencies that fall underneath, which is Moorhead Public Service, City of Moorhead, Clay County, and a handful of state agencies as well. So combined, I mean, we're talking 3,000 plus staff, computers that use this internet connection, so they've doubled our speed, and one of the reasons to take advantage of that would be the set of new firewalls that is capable of handling that. Another portion of that, or another reasoning that we're looking for, is we'll be able to better separate our interdepartmental traffic between, say, example, my machine maybe shouldn't get to like an HR server, vice versa, things like that. So this is going to improve that process that we can do to separate some of that traffic and inspect it a little bit more and protects ourselves a little bit better.
We don't want anybody seeing our current administrator screen.
That's right, that's right.
Unless they like pierogi.
So then what we would do with the existing firewalls, the overall goal would be to move those over to the criminal justice network to protect them separately than we do the rest of the Clay County network. Currently, it's all combined on the same firewall, and to help with CJIS compliance, that's one other reason we'd like to separate it off and just move them over to their own separate connection through the state. So we did receive.
Sorry, say that again. Who was that we're separating from?
Criminal justice network. So it'd be the sheriff's office, jail, attorneys,
Okay.
juvenile detention in some aspects.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So we did receive 3 quotes for new firewalls. First one coming in from High Point Networks for $93,037. The other 2, one from CDWG, $119,848.36, and the last one from SHI for $165,313. So the request today would be to go with the lowest quote through High Point Networks for $93,037.
All right, questions?
Oh, and I should mention too, the costing, or the funding source, we'd like to use $83,037 from our 2026 Technology Services Fund, and then another $10,000 through Internal Services Fund.
And then you'll add those to the
Correct.
replacement.
Yep.
Commissioner Campbell and then Commissioner Kavanaugh.
All right, so what's the lifespan of a firewall?
Typically 5 years. So we're in about, I believe, our 3rd year of our current firewalls. So that's why we would take those and move those over to the criminal justice side. And then when those are due for replacement, we've already have those on internal services. So that's building up funds to pay for part of this, $10,000 we're requesting. So as we separate that off, the next time we replace those firewalls, they won't need such big hardware. They'll be a little bit less, so the cost overall should be cheaper for that side of it at least.
I'm just kind of curious what we might be looking at in terms of having to add to as we start talking about budgets, what we're going to have to add to that internal service fund for this. Typically, you would divide it out by its life expectancy, and then you would add 3%. I think that's how Lori does it, but you're saying next time around, the cost might not be this much?
Or for the current firewalls that are in place now. Yeah, they would go to a lower model in a couple of years when we need to replace those. So at that time, there would be a little bit of leftover money in that internal services fund to help with replacement of the bigger ones that we're asking for today.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kavanaugh?
Yeah, along the same line. So number one, this idea of a new firewall was in your your plan already, or it's something new that's been brought because of your conversations of, so,
Not necessarily because of the closed session we just had, but more so, we've been having a lot of speed issues across the county. I don't know if everybody's been hearing about, we've been hearing about it from a lot of departments. So this is to also help address that too. I know we have some vendors that are working even Wednesday afternoon and then again Monday to help us do some more troubleshooting and prepare for, just some configuration changes.
and I'm not saying I'm against doing this, I'm just asking a question on your budget though, when you take this 93,000, is that going to affect something that you have planned for the
It was
remaining
not planned for this
26
year.
or? Oh,
No, we would sacrifice other things the remainder of the year to, for that
have
line.
that balance out? Okay, thank you.
So based on the memo, is the services that we're providing to the state components bogging down? Is that what I'm hearing? Is
Not necessarily. I know we've been hearing from judges too, so just slow connections in the courtrooms.
But is that because we've added more users that are using a higher?
It's hard to
Okay.
say, but yeah, each year there's more, say, cloud-based systems. As the court moves things from local servers to the cloud, I mean, that's all internet traffic.
So maybe I'm not asking correctly, and I apologize. Is it, because we're hosting different entities, is it Clay County users? Is it state users? Is it just the combination
Just
of
a
all of it?
combination. Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
but we'll pay for it.
Hopefully not for longer, yeah.
Yes, Commissioner Bear?
So going forward, your budget for next year will have this included? For
Portion of it.
a portion of it, yeah.
You could probably maybe be thinking 15 to 20.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and actually,
We'll have to add to
this would be for 5 years, so it'd be.
Yeah,
kind of
but
a
break
one-
it,
one
divide
and
by
done.
5, and it'd be about 15 to 20 grand to replace it.
That'll be added to his internal
Yeah.
budget.
Yeah.
Additional questions? Requests? Wishes?
Move to approve.
A motion offered from Commissioner Campbell to approve as presented.
Yes,
I'll
that's the
second.
$93,037.
Okay. A second from Commissioner Krabanoff. Further discussion? Discussion? Discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Commissioners.
Can I make one more?
Commissioner Krabanoff?
So again, high praise for, his report on that audit. I mean, to hear how low you are compared to
That's
other.
Paul.
Oh,
Closed
pardon?
session.
That's closed session.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anything else? I appreciate it. Thank you. We are scheduled for a break. Item 6. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Schedule item 7 is a request approval of final contract voucher for SAP 014-634-32. Justin, good morning.
Good morning. So yes, this is the final contract voucher for the mill and overlay in CASA 34. This was from Trunk Highway 9 to CASA 11. Central Specialties was a contractor, and I thought it turned out really well. The initial bid was $1,846,160.10, and the final amount to be approved today is $1,846,671.44.
Okay.
About as close as possible as you could come to the initial bid.
No kidding. Any questions for Justin? Wishes of the board?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the final contract voucher.
Second.
We have a motion offered from Commissioner Bear, a second from Commissioner Ebinger, and the amount is presented. Any further discussion? 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 All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried.
Thank
Justin,
you.
can you really briefly talk about, because I think it came, Commissioner Ebinger and Commissioner Campbell were at the Diversion Authority. I had questions about coordinating projects. Can you talk briefly about the Friday meeting?
Yeah, so on Friday at CW Valley, the Diversion Authority as well as the Corps of Engineers had a meeting just discussing what closures were going to be happening and when. they did reach out to me, and I suggested that it at least be a bi-weekly meeting, if not a weekly meeting, and they seemed really supportive of that.
Good. Very good.
Well, thank you for always showing up. I mean, you have been very available to folks down there between the township and other residents and the business. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Justin. Item 8 today is a request approval of the Clay County Law Enforcement Center feasibility study, professional services proposal. We have County Administrator Steve Larson's here. The sheriff's also in attendance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you are certainly aware, the Clay County Sheriff's Department and Moorhead Police Department have shared the Law Enforcement Center since its construction in 2018. The building is separated into different areas of utilization and also shared area by the Police Department and the Sheriff's Department. Recently, we were notified from the Moorhead Police Department that their space that they had for expansion has now been expended. And as part of their strategic plan into the future, they're going to need some additional spaces. And so that is something that triggered this conversation. The study in front of you would take a look at the feasibility. If you recall, for those that were part of the process, this building was originally constructed with the ability to expand to the north of, I believe, roughly 15,000 square feet. And that would be a possibility. Unsure and unclear of what necessarily the specific needs of more of the police department would be. We would be requesting a study to look at that ability to hear from them and find what their needs are. In the event that would not work for Moorhead Police Department, part of the study would also look at the feasibility of potentially adjusting and moving county departments into that facility. And that concludes my report, computes any questions the board may have.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Just for memory's sake and looking at, just refresh my memory, when we built the law enforcement center, specifically with the garage space, there was thought that went into how we built the garage so that there could be an expansion on a second level above, correct? The footings were poured to that?
That is correct. There's a little bit of an elevation change, but it was set up to be able to build out, I believe, roughly 15,000 square feet.
And with that, the focus of their growth would exceed what could be developed with that scope in mind?
That is, I think, with the combination of the future needs of the Sheriff's Department and the Moorhead Police Department's future needs, I think that would be what this feasibility study would look at, whether or not both the needs of the Sheriff's Department and Moorhead PD's future needs would be addressed. Okay. And so just for clarification, it is a feasibility study. We're not looking at this stage of costing it out per se. We're just looking to see if from a planning perspective that would work. And that was basically done in a reason to save funds. In the event that it does not work, we wouldn't go into a full study.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think it's, we've talked about this in our building committee, and I think it's worthwhile for us to go through this phase. I think there's an awful lot of additional questions and logistics that I think we're going to need to have law enforcement involved with if something were ever to be done, and how that would change. And also, we're going to have to review, and again, I'm going out ahead a little bit here in terms of future considerations, and that is the current bond that we had on that facility and how we managed the financing of that to cover the bond, and part of that included the contract with the city of Moorhead. And so I think it's going to be really important for us to understand if Moorhead, if they think they've outgrown and they want to maybe look somewhere else, what that does to that contract and how that could potentially impact our financial plan on the bond. And I've got some numbers down. Don't need to share them today because, like I said, this is just a feasibility thing. But I think it's going to be a critical component in terms of what decisions we make. And I did a little bit. I'll share it with everybody later. But there's some concern that I have in terms of where some of these extra monies would come from. But that's for a later date.
Thank you, Commissioner Campbell. Commissioner Ebinger.
Yeah, just my perspective on this is a disappointment for me. And I think for a lot of us who worked on making this project happen a number of years ago, there were efforts made, and at that time I was working for the city, but the county extended a real opportunity for us to get into it at an extremely low cost. When I say us, I mean the city and Moorhead PD, because we did not have the funding to come in and take a share of it at that time. So a lot of the debt that we're responsible for, that the county is responsible for meeting now, has been loaded to the years to come. And if we are going to sever the partnership before the termination of this current agreement, I want to make sure that we're made whole. And, that's something I think we need to be aware of and scrutinize any future agreements should the one we have now change. Is that we did not address a lot of this debt on the front end because City of Moorhead needed time, and we gave it to them.
Thank you, Commissioner Ebinger. Commissioner Campbell?
Yeah, Madam Chair, and thank you, and Commissioner Ebinger had, those are valid points, and I think, this can become I'm also disappointed. I'm disappointed any entity needs to do what they need to do, if they need room or what have you. But when we went through this, just like Commissioner Ebinger said, the city of Moorhead had been partners with Clay County even in the previous law enforcement center going back to the 1960s. And when we planned this, never in my wildest dreams would I even have thought that, they would be looking at pulling out. But again, they got to make their decisions based on, what they have to do. But I do think that, and let's get by this feasibility thing first. But if it gets beyond that, I do think we may have to have a closed session discussion about contractual issues that could be of concern to us. And but that can be for another day. I think I don't want to get the cart before the horse here, but it still is a potential concern that we need to be looking at up front. Maybe there's some good ideas there that I'm not aware of yet, but we'll see.
Other discussion? I agree. We're in times when we're trying to figure out how we can collaborate with entities to save money and not over duplicate services throughout the entire county. And it is disappointing that 10 years after this great plan that we had, we're at this point. I think that it's a minimal cost impact to address the future needs of what the building could be, and that's part of what my question was in regards to what we did on the front side to address future growth areas. Hopeful that we can continue to be good partners in pieces, but it is disappointing given how much teamwork we had with it. But anyway, further wishes of the board?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the Clay County Law Enforcement Center feasibility study.
Second.
Motion offered from Commissioner Bear, second from Commissioner Ebinger. Where is the $10,000 coming from?
That was my question.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, that would need to come from the reserves, county reserves.
Okay. Any other questions? I've served with you long enough. I knew that was what you're. Any other questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff, did you have anything? Okay. We'll move into committee reports. Commissioner Ebinger. Okay. Commissioner Krabanoff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Going back to last Wednesday, the 29th. Last week, we had a lot of involvement with our continuation of moving forward with our bonding request regarding the non-secure facility. That day, we met with our lobbyists online, set up our strategies as both Commissioner Mojo and I were in St. Paul the following day, and she was part on Wednesday. So that led to what our main intent was for Thursday. And then on Thursday, we were in St. Paul. Beginning that morning, we met with the National Alliance on Mental Illness in Minnesota. That's called NAMI. And this is a group that gives guidance, also education, advice, funding sources, working on a national level toward the state of Minnesota and DHS. Our purpose of the visit was to make sure they knew what our request was regarding the non-secure, or bonding ask for the non-secure facility, and then how that would impact our ability to have the PRTF. We met with the executive director, Marcus Schmidt, and he was enthusiastic about what we were talking about, wanted to jump on support immediately. And last night, we did receive the letter from NAMI that in the support that we will use and pass on to our legislators, knowing that we have momentum on a larger level behind us. That afternoon, we were in the Capitol, and on my part, Commissioner Mojo can speak to hers. In the afternoon, we were able to reach one of the high senators in the investment committee. We met Senator Housley. We talked to Senator Edke, Senator Rasmussen, who's also on capital investments, and then Senator Krupek. And then a little bit later after that, we met up with Representative Joy in the House, all working forward on a bonding bill, and we'll get more to come this week. So and that's what our activity was legislatively last week, for me anyway. Yesterday, I had Morehead Planning Commission. 3 things were online. One may be of interest. There was a request for a conditional use permit for excavation, fill, and construction of a flood wall. And that flood wall is going to be going on First Avenue North, is where you go under the underpass if it floods. And the flood wall will then give a protective height to that underpass up to 100-year flood protection. So that'll be good. It was part of their mitigation project plan that they'd had. And that was passed. Other 2 parts were simply text amendments, one on mapping for light industrial text map amendments, in the comprehensive plan. Those were passed. And then also text amendments regarding mixed neighborhood uses, mainly dealing with infill, just working on setbacks to make it more amenable to fill those places that aren't filled. And that's my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Krabanoff. Commissioner Campbell?
I have nothing to report.
Commissioner Bear?
Last Wednesday, I went down to St. Paul for the Nuts and Bolts Boardrooms Commissioner Technical Days with the AMC put on. It was a great networking experience and learning experience. And then that was from Wednesday through Friday. On Thursday, I snuck out of there in the morning so I could go to the Capitol and talk with Representatives Joy, Gander, Scabra, and Backer about the rural water district that is formed and another grant bill that will help the rural water district. And then yesterday, I attended MRC online as a Zoom meeting where we had a session update and an update on the census tracker and who is eligible for that in the state of Minnesota. And I believe we forwarded that information on to Steve Larson, and Commissioner Mojo was also in on that meeting. That is all my committee reports, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Bear. Last week, I also attended the Nuts, Bolts, and Boardrooms conference. Really great opportunity for shared education and issues facing all counties. It was really great to triage some of the issues that we're all facing together. It was a good update. We had some great discussion around DHS, the federal and state implications. We talked about bonding, the process for state bonding requests. We talked about the congressional designated funding component. So that was really helpful. I attended 2 days of meetings at the Capitol, some committee hearings on Wednesday, had great opportunity to chat with Representative Joy on pushing issues forward. On Thursday, I had a meeting with Senate Majority Leader Senator Murphy, Senator Kupek, and our legislative team on the final 2 weeks of session and how we strategize that. So many moving parts, really great. They're signaling that all leaders of the caucuses are talking now, which is a great signal for all of us as we continue to move things forward. I also attended the NAMI presentation. Really, this has been a 2.5-year process to get in front of them, and when we sat down, he basically said, "Why haven't you come to us sooner?" And wholeheartedly agreed with the work that this county is doing in addressing mental health needs. So huge congratulations to all of you. That was a huge feat. And then had additional Senate pulling with discussions with additional senators that day as well. Friday, we had a great update with our non-secure detention folks. Solutions was around that table. We had Quinn and James and staff on triaging the additional information from Wednesday, Thursday into our messaging for this week. Really great momentum moving forward on that. Another meeting yesterday to highlight what had changed over the weekend since the Friday morning meeting. Really, I think Steve has reached out to you on some additional correspondence that we've had in regard to congressional designated spending earmarks. Meeting yesterday with MRC, great updates from the legislature on everything that's happening fast. Ezra reported on that well. I attended a meeting with the MetroCog Executive Committee meeting. We did, because of the frequency in federal shutdowns, there has been a slight issue in regards to billing. So the entities will be slowly building up a small reserve account just for payroll pieces. It's going to be $2,000 to $3,000 additionally for Clay County, I believe, that will be requested so that they can make payroll. Last year with the shutdown in November and December, it got really tight. Obviously, the big reimbursements for projects will be held during that time, but that's how the executive board is going to be dealing with those disruptions. If it will be in a separate reserve account, and then if they never use it, they never use it, but they'll have it. And then we also talked about the Cass Clay Food Commission. That has been something for 11 years that we've been part of. Early on, did really great work. It was spearheaded through some pretty big grants through the state of North Dakota, and Megan Murdahl was really the champion on that front. We addressed the planning commissions and zoning concerns that different entities had and created some pretty amazing blueprints. But now there's been some disruption to funding and grant availability, and it was requested by the chair, Heather Niesemeyer, that MetroCog absorb that $6,000 funding to keep it going. I do know that the local entities are paying for like the materials and the time to get agendas together, but it did come before the executive committee, and I did talk with Commissioner Krabenoft. It was not recommended that we approve that expenditure for a couple of reasons. One, we are under pretty stiff requirements from Federal Highway on what's appropriate funding for the agency, and the work before, because it was planning, really sort of met what that need was, and Federal Highway has issued opinions that it's outside of the scope of what the transportation planning organization should do, and so we did recommend not paying that. Certainly, I know that's challenging, and I know the committee is in kind of a soul-searching time too, so more to come on that, I guess, maybe on your side than MetroCog, but just wanted to update you on that. But that concludes. Oh, then Kevin had an announcement last week, and I just want to say that in my time on this board, it has been a privilege to work with you. And I know that we all have different seasons of life and go on to provide our skills and talents in different ways, but you've really given a lifetime of service to Clay County in a number of different ways. And I do mean this truly. Kevin and I have had fierce arguments and fierce agreements, and in all that time, I've really grown to respect your position and your approach and your advocacy. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Steve?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last Tuesday, I participated in the MACA Leadership Committee. We're looking at setting up the MACA and Macrame Fall Annual Conference. On the 29th, participated in the legislative planning meeting with our staff and lobbyists. Again, just can't be more happy with the doors that the lobbyists are opening as we plan for hopefully what will be funding of our non-secure detention. On the 30th, we had a meeting on the MPCA Budweiser settlement and heard project updates. Again, if you recall, we have to have that done here by early June, and so we're making sure that we're meeting the legislative requirements. It looks like we are on track at this point, so that's great news. On Friday, participated in the non-secured legislative meeting, which has been covered. And that afternoon, I worked on a department head evaluation. On Monday, worked part of our plan moving forward is to reach out to our legislators, both locally, capital investments, co-authors, authors of our non-secure detention legislation, and so each of us are taking a day this week to make sure that we keep that on top of their mind as we move through the last few weeks. Let's see, met with Sheriff Empting on a series of different issues on yesterday. Also met with Derek LaPointe and Lori Johnson about different services that Bell Bank could offer the county. And then lastly, met with Mr. Melton and Troy Amundson. Friday, I think we've talked about it. We have a hearing with MCIT about a possible coverage denial, and we are appealing that request, and so we have a hearing tomorrow on Friday morning. And again, just a reminder, next week after board, we do have our quarterly EDC meeting, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Another item that I did have is you all received several emails, one from NACO, but one for AMC, that talked about the NACO application for the 2026-2027 committee appointments. And so whether or not you attend national conferences, there still are lots of great opportunities to be on a committee. And even if you don't attend the committee, you get the materials. Last year I was put on the Public Lands Committee, and so had the opportunity to sit through those. And to be able to have that extra layer of information has proved to be really, really helpful. Basically, what you do is you go in, click what you're interested in, and then Julie Ring will assign, and then you'll be appointed to it, and then added into the fold. There is a deadline of the 8th, so I would encourage all of you to find something, 2 or 3 committees that are of interest to you. I do think it would be really in our best interest, since Clay County is paying to be part of NACO through AMC as well, so I think it's helpful. Brian, did you have any? Okay. Darren?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Most of my stuff has already been covered. A couple outstanding things was on Tuesday, I met with the sheriff on his cadet program, trying to get that underway. Wednesday, I met with an employee about an employee issue. Thursday, I worked on the payroll estimate for MCIT, which I submitted on Friday. And then yesterday, I sat in on the non-secure detention check meeting, and also had a data request or data subject request that I sat down with social services and the supervisors on that process of data practices responses.
Okay. Sarah? Anything else? If not, we have addressed all the issues on the agenda, and we will meet here next Tuesday. We are adjourned.